Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. For those of you who join me on my lives, I always start my shows off in that way because I still think that it's so very cool that regardless of where we are in the world or regardless of what time zone we're in, we can all come together at one time and have amazing conversation together. So I want to welcome everyone to the Sellovatorz HumAIn Sells show that usually occurs on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central Time. This is the second season. I did do a launch show a couple of weeks back, so I'm a bit wonky as it relates to consistency. And oh, by the way, for some reason today, I could not invite people. So Anna and I are doing this pop-up today, and we are just going to stream and have conversation to whomever may join us out there. So if you are out there, we'll kick this off by telling us where you're located. I'm here in Houston, Texas, which is obviously Central Time Zone. Anna, however, is over from across the pond, so I will let her share a little bit about herself and where she is coming in from, and continue to let us know in the comments below where you're located. So Anna, maybe if you could do your introduction for us today.
Hi, Denise. Thank you very, very much for having me here. I'm in Ireland, south of Ireland. It's absolutely beautiful today, which is quite unusual for Ireland, but yeah, it's brilliant. And I'm delighted to be here. So introduction was, I don't know, Denise, let's have a chat first and see. The introductions come later. Just delighted.
Well, I do think it's important for us to maybe just share, for all of us for all of those that may be out there joining us for the first time, or who may be on team replay. By the way, if you're not on team live, just let us know that you're hashtag team replay so that we can be sure to come out or come back and have amazing conversation with you later. But the Sellovatorz show is really centered around sales. How do we inject the human back into the sales process? Now, while we're not always focused on that specific topic, we do talk about all things sales related, especially in this new modern sales world where the way we sold before is quite dramatically different. And, Anna, while she's not traditionally a sales professional, she, as a solopreneur, as a founder and business owner of Decide, Commit, and Succeed. She has to take on the role of a sales professional, right? So in the traditional sense, she may not have grown up as a salesperson, but she has taken on that role. And so the reason why we are going to come together today is because as a founder of her company, she has had to adopt new strategies so that she can maximize her sales and bring in more revenue. And so today we're really going to spend a lot of time talking about success here on LinkedIn and how LinkedIn has really helped us to seed and have some of those successes, and how you, as LinkedIn users, how you as well can take practical tips home that you can adopt today and implement so that you too can see the same success. So, Anna, I kind of did a little bit of an introduction, not so quite, right?
Yeah, definitely. You have changed my perception or belief in sales as sales role, right? We all have our businesses. And most of the part when we talk about business development is essentially sales, but nobody likes it, especially in a solopreneur space,
yes,
as I know, right? And my relationship with sales as such comes from my cultural background. So for girls, it wasn't a thing that girls needed to be doing. Then money talks, it wasn't about girls, and so on, right? So I'm trying to change that stigma for my own daughter, which I think I'm doing pretty well. But
I think you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing.
Why we're here today? Now, I still don't like sales as in being a salesperson, right? I have to say that, Denise. But there are so many layers to it. And through our conversations almost on a daily basis, and seeing how you approach sales and seeing how you actually train people in sales, And I have to say, I'm privileged. I am privileged that I'm learning so much from you. And it definitely has changed my approach. And I think I'm going to start with 2 words prior to sales, right? Visibility and credibility.
Credibility. Yes, the 2 words I love the most, which, by the way, before you dive in, I do want to recognize Sia is out there. So she says hello to us both, right? And
I see that.
she's dialing in from the Big D after a wicked windstorm last night. We actually have that happening right now, which is why my lighting is a bit different. If you see my shows, my lighting's usually much better, but I've actually had to turn on my lights. And, she says that not only is sales something that's near and dear to her, but she leverages LinkedIn much in the same way that you and I do. And in fact, I think, I would say she's mastered LinkedIn. And so, so we're excited to have her out there. But okay, so let's go back to the topic around credibility and visibility, because those are the 2 words I use all the time as it relates to just our brand and how our brand with credibility and visibility brings in more sales. So let's continue that conversation.
I'm going to recall our conversation sometime last year we had, Denise, when I was saying my style is more about in-person networking, building relationships, and actually going from there. And as I told you before, I never even had a website. It was all word of mouth. People like what you do. They recommend somebody. And that's the way you develop your business. But it was a wake-up call during COVID when suddenly everything was shut down, right? And I had to think what way I will actually conduct my business, because things were changing. And I didn't even know what Zoom is, right? So as many of us at the time, we had to learn very fast. So I went back to education. I said, the only way I can do this is actually to learn how to use the technology. So started with that, but human element was the big one. So never thought that I will be developing so many close relationships. We never met, Denise, didn't we? But how much time we spend weekly, right?
So I mean, we spend, so just for everyone else's purposes, her and I mean, I believe that we should each hold ourselves accountable. But when you have so much you want to accomplish, there's only so much I can do on my own and hold myself accountable for. It's people like Anna that we talk every morning, 8 a.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Ireland time, right? Every day, Monday through Friday, as a way to hold ourselves accountable for things that we just can't do ourselves. Because again, if we want to see so much success, especially as it relates to bringing in new sales, there's so many things we have to be accountable for. And her and I do that every single morning for one another.
That's what I was going to say, Denise. Accountability is a big part, whether that be in sales or in general, having a business, right? Because why we start business? Because we're passionate about something, which I think we all agree on. But then there's parts of the business, or managing your business and developing your business, which we don't like, right? Yep. So I think that's where the power of accountability partnerships come in true. And I'm really delighted that I have few people that I could name, but big way, I have to say thank you to you for our partnership, because the days that we feel pretty low and you're looking forward to that call and say, okay, now 2:00, what is my agenda? What I'm going to achieve today? But overall, where the journey started and how I'm looking at sales slightly differently. So I'm going to bring it back to LinkedIn, Denise, because you asked me when literally 22-3, hop on, no prep, straight in. That's Denise's style. And obviously I have to play along, right? But the story, how it's all started after COVID, when I start learning more about different things and different ways of doing business, one of them was LinkedIn. I was quite active a researcher on LinkedIn, but I didn't really post my own thing. I shared a lot, but I never had a confidence, I guess, to voice my own stuff, to approach with my own ideas. But yet I was doing it quite comfortably when I met somebody in person. So watching you, getting your LinkedIn Top Voice, the blue badge, and that was the first inspiration. I have to say, my hat off, because I know now how much work is involved, and I didn't know then. And then I said, okay, it's interesting. Can I do it? Is there any way that I can start? But I often heard from you saying it requires commitment. It requires a lot of work. It's almost like what you have to hire yourself for a position in your company, which will do solely LinkedIn. right? So I said, okay, well, I wasn't ready last year, but just to mention, I was, as you know, I was in collaborative book project involved with Lee Ware, and I have to give him credit in this because he really pushed us to post at least one post a week. And that was a big thing for me. So I started find my own styles and all, but it still wasn't enough because it was collective idea and we were part of it, but it was a great practice to run up for where I am right now. So bringing the accountability forward, I remember you challenged me, just go and do it. I think I found a lot of excuses not to start in why I didn't start last year. But by watching you, and you introduced me to Corey, even so I'm not in a community, but I am watching the post. I am looking how the community support each other. So I have to say, from you, it was to Corey's style to watch what he does. Then I have to mention a couple of other people that I don't know personally, but I followed them and learned from them and find something that I really liked. One of them was, I think his name is Jasmine Alec. I don't know. The other one was Justin Welsh. Who else was there? Mati Piazzi. I can name a few of them, right? I literally went in and searched who is the top on LinkedIn and start learning. But the accountability part was crucial, Denise. So happy to say why I'm here today, and a huge credit goes to you first, that I actually had my very first viral post on LinkedIn, and it happened this week. So, and I'm going to go back to you now because we need to talk about sales and how it all works, and back to visibility and credibility. I believe that. So just one more thing to say, that any advice I got, whether that be from you or any suggestion or any advice or anything that I've learned from each post that I read, my aim was in 2025, you've learned something, implement it, try it out. And that's exactly what I've been doing since last 2 weeks of December to now. And it's been an incredible journey, I have to say. So thank you.
Well, no, I appreciate you sharing your journey thus far. And I want to say that first off, Simi says, congratulations on the viral post, but I'd like to have, make a statement around that. I don't know that going viral is what necessarily brings in dollars, right? It's not, when we talk about going viral, it is really about that visibility and continuing to establish credibility. So does a viral post mean that it's going to bring in revenue? I don't really know. Not immediately. It's usually down the road. But what it does do is allow you to get more visibility, establishing your credibility amongst more people. And the more that your posts go viral, the more the algorithm loves you, the more visibility and the more visibility you get where you can share your credibility, right? That does then in turn at some point, if it's good visibility and credibility, turn into revenue dollars. You don't want to go viral just to go viral. You want to go viral because of the post that you wrote is going to resonate with people that want to do business with you, right? And I think that's the key. So I didn't want to leave that just alone and at least not discussed. So Simi, I know she's super excited. So thank you for that. Congratulations to her, because I know she is excited about that. Sia says Corey Warfield rocks, and he does. Glad to have Jenny out here. She says hi to Sia as well. So for those of you that do not know, Chenny, she is part of Market Me More, who also is a sponsor. Chenny is usually one of those women who behind the scenes helps us on the Sellovatorz HumAIn Sells show. I don't know why I'm struggling today, but I have been working really hard to get my stuff together so that she can really support me in the way that Market Me More is not only thrives in doing, but in also in a way that really ensures that the show does do its best, right?
But I have to add to that, Denise, and thank you to Jenny for their support, because we all have to support each other. And sometimes you think, we have to share all the time. It's actually having those conversations. So apart from credibility, I would like to add something else to it. The learning was immense. absolutely crazy what I've learned this week. Yes, I'm delighted and proud. I have this viral post. I don't know how it happened, but I guess all the consistency with posts and the messaging, and it is time consuming. I have to say, it's not a magic wand that you can spend an hour a day. It's far more, and we have to be realistic. But the learning from that of my own style, how I shape in different ways what I want to say, language is different, obviously. And I have to say, we are all using AI, right? But AI is something that without your own touch, without your own first thought, I think it's pretty useless, because it's a tool and we need to learn how to use that tool. That's why I love when you talk about sales and you put human element to it, because you definitely will know where the conversation goes. Is that the human behind that thought? Is it the human behind that comment, or somebody else just making a comment for the sake of it? So that was, I guess, the big insight for me, that so many people out there supported me. We actually, the video is funny, the one that I have to give credit to another person, because without her, this wouldn't have happened. I'm in Kingston College and I love training. So one of my students actually was following my Saturday posts, which is Wild Wisdom series. So I love animals and I love sharing wisdom. So you heard enough me talking about this last couple of years. And I said, okay, how can I link everything that I do on LinkedIn to something that's dear to me? And one of them was that. So my Wild Wisdom post on Saturday, I asked some of the people, what are your suggestion? And she came up with sloth. Oh my God, did I enjoy researching that animal? And from that on, the rest is history. So that was Idel from Kingston College. And I am forever grateful for this, because nothing else would have happened. But the connection, the human element of it, I didn't went to ChatGPT and Googled what animals I need. I wanted somebody else to get involved. I wanted somebody else to give me another idea that I can build story around it. So delighted that it's all happened. And yeah, I'd love you to sell, maybe to talk about sales and the human element of it, because I've seen what happens on LinkedIn, but I'd like you maybe to explore on that a little bit more, Denise, because I'm learning about sales, but I'm not there yet, right? So
yeah, so I do want to, so there's a lot here that we could unpack, and several different tracks we could go down, right? And discuss. I mean, ultimately, I will say this, when pre-COVID, we're still crazy busy, but pre-COVID, we were actually moving from room to room, from desk to desk, from table to table, right? And we very seldom had time to sit in front of our laptops. And as such, I think that we spent a lot of time having to, just when we had any time, we didn't want to engage with many people. Today, it's a bit different. We've gone through the pandemic. We were sequestered to our homes, isolated in our offices, and we had to seek out those human connections. And today, while we're still probably just as busy, we are usually not going from room to room, from desk to desk, from table to table. We're usually doing it in front of our laptops on our Zooms. And so we have a bit more time to take breaths and to enjoy moments and really foster those human connections. I think the way we approach sales has to take that into account. Our buyers are different. What they need, what they demand, what they want to experience is so much more different. And this concept of leveraging AI technologies to help us automate processes, to help us engage, becomes misleading and misused because of that. So I do think that we have to, as humans, continue to inject ourselves into that sales process so that we differentiate from those who use automated workflows, who leverage AI in a way that such as bots that don't really allow us to see that human that is less personalized. But so that's my plug on it, since you asked as to how it relates. But I do want to go back to, because we're talking about LinkedIn, and you talked about this viral post, right? I know Sia said that it could be argued that going viral gives the impression of influence, which brands and humans lean into to validate their own efforts, right? I do think that again, I go back to, and she agreed earlier that while vanity metrics are a dangerous trap to fall into, she did mention that she agreed with the concept that I had mentioned earlier, which is, look, it is all about credibility and visibility. Does a viral post actually sell your services or bring in revenue? Probably not. But what it will do is continue to build out it allows you to continue to build out your visibility and your credibility that will bring in more revenue down the road, because you're able to tap into more individuals who get to see what you do. And while they may not take advantage of those sales, they may refer you to someone who can, right? To your services, right? But I want to talk about how, because this is a long road. This wasn't just something that happened overnight for you, right? Let's talk about even just right before Christmas, how much you were struggling with LinkedIn, right? I'd like to start there, because getting to viral doesn't happen overnight. So share a little bit about, you referenced the journey, but what's your journey actually been?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the collaborative book writing, that was the start, I guess, where I was more regular in posting, right? But it's still, that wasn't where I could see myself, where Anna was Anna, right? Because it was more about the book and collaboration, which was absolutely brilliant. But piece was missing, Denise. It's to actually be confident. And that's what I'd say about the viral post. That wasn't my intention. In fact, I never anticipated, by being proactive last 2.5 months, let's say, be consistent, that this post will go viral. Never. If I got to 1,000 impressions, that was a big thing. And I remember saying to Denise, I got another 100. Say, yeah, well done. That was good. But to me, that was really high, right? But then seeing what happened and the conversations came through, the big word here is confidence, right? Your language changes, it shapes your thoughts different way. And through communication and having those proper, meaningful conversations definitely will help you going forward. Not just on LinkedIn, it will help you to whatever else you do in your business, right? My conversations outside of LinkedIn are very different, because people may not comment on your post, especially people that are actually your potential customers, right?
Yeah.
That's what I found. You will get an odd DM, but if it's somebody local, they will watch and they will see, what are you posting out there? What are you all about, right? And as I call LinkedIn profile, or my LinkedIn profile, is my live business card. That's the way I treat it. If I want other people to see who I am, they definitely can see a good part of my thinking and what how I'm approaching things. It's on LinkedIn. Then the conversation flows differently, because they have something already they can refer to, relate to. Conversation will start a different way. I am not an AI expert, right? I'm not, but I am an AI user, and I'm learning a lot to help my clients in their decision-making processes. But that doesn't make me an expert in AI, into the writing the codes and building it up. But what I can offer, my own learning and my own research. And all of that is coming through my profile, which I wouldn't have any other way to tell so many people how much I know about it, right? So that's another part, I guess, I would like to emphasize. If you want to introduce to large amount of people and see how they react to what your content is about, that will give you maybe another layer, how you can reshape it, how you can change it, how you can adapt to it, you know?
Look, but I do want to go back to this concept of the fact that, you don't have to generate your own content. There are only, I don't know what the percentage is anymore. There are 1 billion people on LinkedIn. I think that number is even higher. There are about 1% to 2%, maybe at the max 3%, that are actually content creators, right? You don't have to actually generate your own content. You can adopt a commenting strategy that helps as well. But whether it's as a content creator or or adopting a commenting strategy, The result of either of those and or both is that you start to, as you mentioned, refine your messaging, get more confident in how you're engaging with others and delivering that message. It also enables us to start to transform our business in ways. So we may have started, in fact, I'll give you my own example. Originally, I started sharing all about the value and the benefits of leveraging AI in the sales process while still retaining the human element. But what I realized was people didn't want to be educated. And so I really needed to hone in a bit more around my sales strategy, right? And how, yes, adopt AI and leverage it, but find ways to still inject the human in that. How do you differentiate from those automated workflows and AI, right? The other thing is once even getting down to focusing more on sales, I also then really narrowed it down on how to differentiate, how to start building and sending warm DMs rather than cold DMs, right? And then I talked more about, how to be curious and actively listen as part of humans, right? As part of that human connection, so that it helps you in the sales process. So I share that all to say that even my messaging has been refined, even for me and for anyone else out there. When you are focusing on either generating content or have a commenting strategy, you will get better at your messaging, the refinement of what you're offering and how you're messaging, and you'll get more confident and comfortable having these conversations with people here on LinkedIn that you might not even know today, but that you are soon to know in some way or another.
100% agree with that, because I remember all your videos and I was saying, oh my God, you're so brave. You're so brave. You have so many videos, but every one of them gave another little bit of something that could be used. And as I said, implement it straight away and see how will it actually positively impact what you do. You mentioned curiosity. And I think that's, Denise, where we really clicked, because I'm all about coaching, as you know, and it's a positive psychology and appreciative inquiry that I go through. So strength-based everything, that's what I'm about, right? But when you're talking about sales and you're putting the same approach, I said, oh my God, that's so coaching, because you ask, I don't know, millions of questions, and through your questioning, you get clarity about your client. And then, okay, you build a sales strategy, and then you actually know a lot through that questioning somebody what your potential client needs. And that was something that I never put two and two together, right? Never on the sales. And I have to say, by following some of the profiles that solely talk about LinkedIn, solely talk about the sales, and then watching a couple of shows in your lives and few others that are on LinkedIn, because there's so much wisdom on LinkedIn, isn't it? And you don't have to be part of anything. You just have to be genuine with your comments and authentic, as we all say, that's a buzzword. But what I'm trying to say here, right, through the process that you have shown and through the process that other people share on LinkedIn, there is so much wisdom that you almost don't need to go anywhere else. There is so much live, current information that you can learn from. And that's the biggest takeaway, whether that be viral post or non-viral, because I have posts there that people genuinely comment. It went only to 1,000 or 3,000 impressions, but the quality of the conversation, it's incredible. And that's what I value most. And see where we go next. So I don't know. I'm just excited.
Sia says, yes, yes, on LinkedIn is your social media business card, because people are watching. And it does go back to, traditional networking. So use LinkedIn to build credibility and to establish visibility and credibility, but also use it as a way to network, right? And it's Nikki said that comments build discussion and discussions build relationships, right? I think that what I want people to get out of this conversation between you and I is, yes, it's amazing when you can go viral on LinkedIn. More important, though, is, as Simi says, it's quality over quantity, right? It's the conversation, the good old networking that you have with those here on LinkedIn that can be achieved either by starting conversations through your content Or as Nikki mentions, having the comment, having a commenting strategy and having those discussions in the comments. It's also really
also she's been I never even met the girl yet, right? But I've seen her activity and I've seen how she conducts herself, and that's another thing. Nikki, we still have to meet yet somehow, but I've learned a lot about people, and now because I am doing this, I'm learning about other people in a very different way, so yeah, I just love the whole thing, so thank you so much again.
Yeah, and I know you're still at this point where you're what LinkedIn has offered you thus far is amazing partnerships. Mm-hmm. It's established credibility with future clients that you're talking to, that you're building opportunities with, right? Mm-hmm. It's helping you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the community, Denise, there's a certain amount of people. Again, I never knew, I never met. Some of them actually collaborative articles. I have to mention that, right? I have built a very strong relationship with quite a few of them only by doing that one activity. So I believe you better expert on LinkedIn than I am, but I'm learning kind of small baby steps for me, right? But any interactions you have, and then reciprocity, is that the word?
The law of reciprocity, yes. Corey Warfield, he coaches on the law of reciprocity, yes.
If I am like that in a real world, literally copy paste into your virtual world, because it's the same person behind the screen or when you go network with somebody. And just probably to have another thing of when the switch happened for me, Denise, I do network quite a bit. And I'm as you know, I'm almost every week I have another event to go, whether that be for myself or represent somebody. And I love that because I believe in human relationship, right? But then the question was, you are on LinkedIn for so many years. Why are you part of the network, but you don't really speak to anybody? So if you take that into real life scenario and you're actually in a networking event, you have to talk to somebody, you have to introduce yourself. So that's when the shift happened. I said, okay, so let's introduce Anna, who she is, what she stands for, and learn from others. And I always say, LinkedIn for me, many things, but the highlight is to learn and share and collectively move forward, because there's no other way to do this.
And through your content or your commenting strategy, people get to see you and know you in a way that fosters those relationships, those conversations. And Sia says, I'd rather have smaller views with people who actually do business with me versus millions, and it's crickets. But I have gotten gigs because the vanity metrics validate the expenditure. So there is a balance, right? And I think so I would say, and Sia, you tell me if you agree or not. I mean, I asked Nikki out there as well, Simi, Chenny, yourself, Anna. I mean, I would say that because it's a balance, I would say do what you can to just generate good content. If it goes viral, that's awesome because it does get that visibility. It most certainly helps you validate or helps your potential clients validate the expenditure, but it does not define who you are. It does not define your success. It really is about those who actually enjoy your content, aside from those viral ones who really enjoy the content that resonates with them, that really fosters that connection and that want and desire to work with you going forward. So I think you just have to go about it with, let's generate good content. If it goes viral, great. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that as well. As long as it's resonating and not defining yourself on that, but just leveraging it as a way to continue to build good content.
Yeah. And when I 100% with you on this one, Denise, and you asked me, how did the journey start? It wasn't an overnight thing, right? So firstly, I didn't think that I'm going to write something that is going to go viral. That definitely wasn't the case. But one thing I know, that since I started and I committed to this, which was about mid-December, from that on, my aim was the way I treat every post, the content that I create or the research that I do, there is a constant quality from my side, and how we can be perfectionists in some of the ways, right? But my aim was to be consistent, to be true to Anna, have that flexibility in what I do, feel the flow. You know my 3 words for 2025, right? That is my flow, that is my flexibility, and the big one then, it's fulfillment. So through such a diversity of different types of content I created in the last 2.5 months, I felt very much fulfilled. And that was driving me throughout. Yeah, it's great to have what happened last week and I'm enjoying it, but that wasn't the goal. The goal actually was to reach my 3,000 followers. That was the goal, because you do have to have metrics. And I'm gonna come back to you in sales now on this, right? Do we actually need those metrics? Do we need milestones? Would that be sales or any other part of the business? Because that was my job.
you do have to have milestones and KPIs as it relates to sales, and what you define as those KPIs and metrics may vary for each person. I do want to go back to it though, a few things that are being said in the comments. I mean, Sia says consistency, as you mentioned for you, Anna, is key to building a following. So mix it up and have fun and be who you are. I say that I want to emphasize that because one of the things that we can easily succumb to is burnout. And I am a prime example of that. I went gangbusters for the first half of last year. And then I really slowed down, one, because I couldn't keep up the momentum, but the other is that I really, I had some challenging issues that transpired that kind of took me off. And so now I've been challenged with finding what a new, consistency looks like, the new way that I show up. So I say that to share with you that LinkedIn is amazing and great, and you have to find your own consistency, be who you are, and don't allow yourself to go so far over and beyond that you burn out, right? I think that Sia says it accurately. This whole convo is why LinkedIn is so great for sales and business, because you can see that, you know, we've had success. We've also faced challenges. And the hope is that you're getting some great tips on what to do and what not to do. Nikki says thought leadership and influence on LinkedIn comes from professionals sharing wisdom, experience and insights. And we've seen it build credibility. Yes, while it builds visibility. And by the way, she also says that, yes, Anna, you and her need to meet live, right?
Definitely, yes. Back to about burned out and overwhelmed. And I think you heard me a couple of times say in the last few weeks that I'm actually getting overwhelmed with so many comments to reply, because I never leave one comment unanswered. And I respect everybody's time who actually took time to write something about it or share. I think you need to give credit. Gratitude is a big thing, right? But how I am trying to fix my time, I can't say I'm 100% successful, because I'm not. And it's no point in me saying that, because I stopped doing Saturdays, Sundays last year, but I had to come back now to keep the momentum going. But that's where fulfillment comes in, right? There are certain things, and I'm grateful for my family and my partner that he's actually supporting me, because it's not just 1 hour job, right? But being consistent, and your diary. I have actually, some of my posts are scheduled, but scheduling that the post will go at whatever, 8:15, that's not the challenge. The challenge is to have time before, time after, and then to block times during the day and in the evening that you actually respond to people. And LinkedIn never sleeps, isn't it? It's 24 hours on board. And I am delighted that so many different zones kind of communicating with me, time zones that communicating, and we actually have respect for each other and say, okay, I will come back in certain times. So your diary is important. That's probably one biggest tip, that a couple of months ago, I didn't know how to do it, or I was too excited. If the comment came, I had to answer. Now you block your times, and especially you have to do the work also. We have clients that we have to give time to. And for example, tomorrow I'm all day in training, and I'm at networking event in the morning. So I wouldn't have time to follow a lot of comments, but I have scheduled 2 hours that I will be doing that evening. And that is the most important part of that day, to say thank you to people who give their time to my post. So that's probably the biggest takeaway in terms of burned out, that schedule it and make sure that you keep up with that, and give yourself credit. If you achieved something this week, brilliant. So celebrate that.
that's
as equally important, you know.
Yeah,
So
I will say, and because we do need to start kind of closing out, and we appreciate everyone who is here. If you are on Team Live, thank you for engaging with us in the comments below. If you're on Team Replay, make sure you leave the hashtag Team Replay so Anna and I can come back and have amazing conversation. I do want to recognize that Top Voices Unite and Market Me More have been leaving comments, but they're not populating here on StreamYard, so I can't show them. So we appreciate that. I know Sia has to leave, so she's going to here in a few minutes, so she'll probably drop off soon. I think there are a lot of great tips that we can take away. Sia says, yes, blocking times, it helps with consistency. She also does 15-minute increments, which is great. She also is obviously Team Live in the house, right? You know, Nikki was saying, because Sia had said, thank you for sharing my banner message, right? And Nikki said, yeah, I got you. Your message shares your heart, right? But look at the conversations even between Nikki and Sia and Chenny on here, and Chenny and us, and Nikki and Sia engaging with us, and Simi out there. These are all conversations that are happening because we're showing up here on LinkedIn. So your takeaway was really about scheduling your time and making sure that you allot the time that is necessary when you post, and using it, you know, as Sia says, blocking it and doing 15-minute increments, right? On average, they say 15 minutes before and 45 minutes after you let your post go live, right? I would say for me, the biggest takeaway that I want to leave, and then a practical tip is, the biggest takeaway is very much what Sia said: just be you and find what your consistency is. And the practical tip is this: I don't care whether you create content or whether you have a commenting strategy, but most certainly choose one and find your consistency, right? If that's daily, if that's twice a day, if that's 2 times a week, if it's once a week, it doesn't really matter, but find your consistency and go with it. And remember that your consistency only serves you until it burns you out. So try really hard to not let burnout happen like it did for me. And instead find something that really, really works. Now, I want to thank everyone for being here. I would do a disservice to those that were out there without sharing that I am the HumAIn Sells Sellovator live show is sponsored by Market Me More. So I want to thank them for that. I also want to share that on Thursday, Corey Warfield and I are going to have an amazing conversation on Top Voices Unite, where we'll be talking about this just as we are now, about LinkedIn and the success that we've had. The takeaway here, though, was really, how do we apply LinkedIn for increased sales? And it's really all about visibility and credibility. And you can only do that by showing up and treating the platform as though it's a networking platform. So we have this show on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central Time. It hasn't been super consistent since the opening of the second season, but we are working on getting it every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Central. I want to thank Chenny for being out there. Sia, I appreciate it. She says, keep up the good work. We really appreciate you. In fact, go to see her at the top of the hour at Nah on This Business Bites podcast, where she'll be talking about networking. So make sure you go see us. Visit us for the Top Voices Unite live on Thursday with Corey Warfield and I at 11 a.m. Central, or 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you haven't gone to check out Anna's profile, go see the post that she's talking about that went viral and give your thoughts, give your feedback to her, DM her, let her know ask her questions and how she went viral, what it took. If we didn't cover all the questions that you have here, ask her those questions, and know that we're here to support you from a sales perspective. It is definitely adopt AI technologies where you can, but also retain that human element. Let's differentiate ourselves from all the other salespeople by establishing that human connection. So I want to thank everyone for being here. I hope that you join us again next Tuesday. I will be here next Tuesday for sure. So I'll look forward to seeing you. Sorry for those that didn't get the invite. For some reason, there was a glitch with LinkedIn and I couldn't invite people. But I look forward to seeing everyone next week. If your team replay, be sure to let us know again so that we can come back and have an amazing conversation. Anna, I want to thank you for not only, being here on the show with me this morning, which by the way was a pop up for us, right? But also for just being my accountability partner for the friendship that we've established. I'm honored to have amazing people in here on my team like Sia and Chenny and Nikki. I thank Simi for being out there as well. And I thank you again. And to all of you who popped in or out, whether team live or team replay, we thank you. And I wish you guys an amazing, amazing week.
Yeah, the same. I can second all of that. So thank you so very much having me here. So I can't
no problem.
I better go and prepare for my class now. But thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to take us out with some music. And we're gonna change it up. I usually do rock, but we're gonna play some pop music or some dance pop. So stay on for a minute. I'll end the stream, and we want to again thank everyone. See you here next week. Go check out her video. Go check out that on her profile. Also, go check out Sia at the top of the hour with her Nah On podcast, and come back on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central for Corey and I on Top Voices Unite. All right. Thank you guys. Taking it out.
Yes.
Oh. No, we're going to have to go to rock. All right. Bye, guys.
Let's rock it.